Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Today, we're looking at the IN4 Information Droid, also known as the IN series Information Droid. This was one of the most recognized droids in the space travelers during the Rebellion era. So, characteristics. Often mistaken as a EG series power droid, the IN4 droid was created by the ultimate user level data retrieval droid of its time. Uh, Created to be. I'm sorry. I'm kind of fumbling up things here this morning. Found in almost every starport in the galaxy, the droid allowed efficient data access for travelers, allowing them to research flight times, local customs and laws, as well as basic research and communication. Even though the line was created to be the most efficient data access solution for starports, it only contained up to 12 languages in its onboard memory. If the droid did not understand the language of the user, it would either search the planetary network for a translation or, failing that, would provide a translation of the network in BASIC on a small screen. The IN4s were hard coded against illicit uh, retrieving, illicit, boy, if I can only speak this morning, I'm just having issues. Illicitly retrieving data from secure networks. However, both the Rebel Alliance and the Empire used the droids for espionage. Rebel infiltrators would routinely use IN4s for data drop off sites, while Imperial intelligence would use sliced IN4s as espionage units. When this became common knowledge, many IN4s were avoided for fear of being targeted by Compnar. This comes to us from its first appearance being in Dead End Drop, Shadows of the Empire sourcebook, which is also one of the novels. Um, so we do have Shadows of the Empire, uh, let's see, sourcebook listed as a source. Cinnabar's Fantastic Technology Droids, Cinnabar's Droid Datalog, Star Wars Archive Journal 14, and Complete Star Wars Encyclopedia. Now, so many interesting things we always have to kind of remember because we're looking at it from today's point of view. We have the World Wide Web and everything else. All this stuff really comes back to 1970s technology. What did we have then? Yes, we had information, we had data. Quite often, we had to transport stuff back and forth. We were using a lot of reel to reel data tapes. Floppy disks were just barely coming in, and that's the big old floppy disks, the 5 1/4, not the 3.5. And I think they only carried, I don't know, uh, I want to say like some 700 bytes of information on it. So, I remember having games. You had like 7 floppy disks just to try and run a game. So, some of that stuff was, it was all cutting edge for the time. But when we look back at it, you have a look of, oh my God, we made do with this, and yes, we did. We did very well. So, in those regards, when we look at this stuff and we see everything, it is an interesting thing because you know we just all naturally we want to say, hey, a star destroyer should already be linked up with a planet, which should be linked up with whatever else, and so on and so forth. Everything was a lot more controlled. So a starship had its own information and all that, and you would have to connect that starship up to a base to transfer data. So if there was mail, there was anything else, it would actually have to physically connect, or you would have a data droid like this, and you would have to download information, send it down on a shuttle, hook it up to whatever planetary base you're going to, give that information so everybody's updated with whatever the current things are going on, and then it would download everything that's current from the planetary base and take it back up to the starship, and then you would exchange information that way. The other thing, and we see this on Star Wars Rebels on Lothal, where they do have a communication system or whatever, but typically that is used by the Galactic Empire. So they really limit as to what kind of information goes out. Everything's got to go through them to say this can be sent out or that can be sent out. So having ships transport information back and forth or whatever else becomes a very vital link for everybody to stay up to date with what's going on in the universe. So that's where we are with this. All right, so when we're looking at the IN4 Information Droid, this is a very lane systems IN4 Information Droid. It has a dexterity of 1D, has a knowledge of 4D, and languages of 5D. So, like it had stated in there, it's got about 12 languages it can speak. And anything else beyond that, it would just have to kind of display on its screen or whatever else in basic. We do have a mechanical of 1D, a perception of 1D, strength of 1D, and technical of 1D. You know, not being skills, it really doesn't, or it really doesn't need anything in those. So why put attributes or anything into something it really doesn't need at all? Uh, for technical, we do have computer program repair of 6D. So it can get the information, transfer it fairly quickly, and then download whatever it needs back so that way you can get its job done as fast as it possibly can. All right, and it is equipped with a box framed body, treadwell, location or locomotion unit, video sensor, vocabulary speech, sound system, extractable in out computer jack, has a move of 3. So this is a fairly slow unit. It's not going to win any foot races. It is a size of 1.3 meters tall, so a little shorter than our standard humanoid, but not too short as far as that goes. Keep in mind, our standard astromech droid is 1 meter. A standard humanoid is roughly about 1.6 meters. Let's see. We do have a cost of about 2,500 credits, and this comes from, again, Xenobar's Fantastic Technology Droids, Shadows of the Empire sourcebook, pages 105 and 108. So, and again, like I said, you know, we're not interconnected in the Star Wars galaxy like we are in our own world today. So maybe when we look at where we could be at the end of the last trilogy that they had done, you know, maybe that technology in those years, those 40 some years, everything, you know, they do have like World Wide Web systems and that, and they can just kind of pick up all that information through satellites and so on and so forth. Maybe not. Maybe it also depends on what system you're in. Now, I like to think of that time frame from the expanded universe from the novelization, where you still have the New Republic era or area where it's a little bit, you have all the freedoms, but it's a little bit on a wild space kind of issue. Um, you have more freedoms, but you have to accept the dangers that come with it. That is the problem with freedom. You have to accept the dangers that come with it. Um, and then you have the empire controlled areas, from what some call the imperial remnants, others just call it the imperial areas. Uh, you know, they have a lot more restrictions as to what you can and can't have, but they also have a um, better set of laws and codes and everything else. You can have this, you can't have that. You can do this, you can't do that. You know, for people that want that structure, it's there. For people that are willing to have that freedom and accept the dangers that can sometimes come with that freedom, they do have the New Republic era or area. So, you know, it comes down to your personal wants, needs, and all that. Do you want a well controlled area? There's the Imperial areas, in the galaxy. If you want more freedoms and everything else, then unfortunately you have to accept that there are going to be dangers that come along with it. And then there's the New Republic. It is a very free area, but unfortunately, that means that it gets a little mucky sometimes, and it can sometimes be a little on the dangerous side. So I can't say as to where I would sit, and I can't say as to where anyone else would sit. I would like to think I'd like to be on the free side, but on the other hand, you know, how much freedom do you have, and how much do you want to give up to feel you're safe and all that? That is a personal choice. So, with that, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for visiting. It's always fun bringing this to you every day. Hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you in the next video.